Hey, Jamsters. Thanks again for pressing play. Welcome once again to another edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. My name is John Voida, managing editor, brightsideofthesun.com. If you like to read, come on over. I've got plenty of words for you to read. If you don't like to read, then hey, thanks for watching or listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, where we go live after every single game. That's right. We're the original post-game podcast on Planet Purple, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019. I'm joined, as per usual, by Matthew Lissy. How you doing tonight, Matthew, following a loss by the Suns to the Memphis Grizzlies?
Oh, doing really great. This was unzipped before. I got a little excited. Now it's zipped back up. Right where it should be because the Suns lost again, buddy.
Yeah, playing the Grizzlies, a team that definitely possesses youth and exuberance and vibrancy, and they play with the top pace in the league, and statistically they're going to beat you with offense and defense. And, you know, to credit the Suns, they did fight in this one. After being down by as much as, I believe, 19 points at one point in this game, they fought back and got it to within 4 late in the game. Some unfortunate unforced errors led to another loss, and you just have to kind of exhale after these, because there were some great things about this team that we saw. There were some frustrating things. We got Bol Bol starting. We got, why the fuck is Tyus Jones out there? We got KD going for 30,000 points. It was an action-packed game, man.
It really was. It kind of, in the first half, you kind of thought it was going to be a blowout, and you wouldn't have any of these scenarios at the end to talk about. But it was a very different kind of feeling to a game. I don't know. Maybe it's because the trade deadline's over. Maybe because of 30,000 points that Kevin Durant hit, but there's a lot of storylines to talk about tonight.
Definitely a lot of things to talk about. So again, thank you if you're watching along live or watching later, wherever you are watching. Please head to our YouTube channel and go ahead and hit that subscribe button, or at least click like on the video if you can. It helps with the algorithms. Let everyone knows where to come and watch some post-game Suns content with a couple of guys who've been doing it for a little bit. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about, but we enjoy doing it, and we like that you're hanging out with us. If you happen to be on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and leave a review. If you give us 5 stars, we'll read that review right here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. I don't know if you know this, Matthew, but we did get some new ones. I read them on the last one, but I do appreciate those reviews. It really means a lot. Your support of the show is something we truly appreciate. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and kick this one off. I got a Suns brew again from Four Peaks, a cold style ale, a delicious Suns brew. Matthew, I know that you've really started to drink a lot again, and I'm proud of you for this. What are you drinking?
Time.
Bud Light.
It's nice.
You know what I was thinking today?
What?
I like Budweiser.
Yeah, Bud Light is great.
But yeah, I went to I went to a Suns game, and I was in a suite. Thank you to Buzz RX for that. And they had a bunch of Budweisers. I was smashing Buds. I like Budweisers.
They get you crunk.
But you know what I don't like about Buds? They remind me of Coach Bud. We'll talk about that and more. Cheers, fuckers.
Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
That's right. We come to you after another loss by the Phoenix Suns. Their record is now 26-27 on the season, Matthew. 26-27, and that brings my first question.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, losing tonight, going to the record of 26-27, knowing that we play the Houston Rockets tomorrow, the final game before the All-Star break, will the Phoenix Suns ever be over or at 500 again this season?
It's tough because I think after a game tonight where they did fight back, you just think like maybe that's all they have in games like this against the top seeds in the West. Now playing against the Houston Rockets tomorrow, you assume that's going to be a loss. So down under 500 by 2 games, that's quite a bit for the Suns team. I think they had to kind of give all their efforts to have a perfect game to win these type of games, and the schedule is tough coming up. So I want to just say no, just because I think, a few pods ago we talked about, I even mentioned, I don't think this team will make the playoffs. I think the Warriors will continue to succeed with Jimmy Butler and what they have with that team. Even right now, Sacramento's in the driver's seat, kind of in the 9th spot. So we'll see how the things work out. But the Suns just right now, man, they can't get anything going their way, but they have to fight for every inch, and it's kind of difficult to win against these teams coming up.
Yeah, you take a look at their remaining schedule and 29 games left. I think that's right. 26 plus 27, 5, whatever. Per tankathon.com, as of this exact moment when we're recording this podcast right after the game, the Suns have easily the hardest remaining schedule with the combined winning percentage of opposing teams of 5-4-5. That's 54.5%. And it's interesting, if you go to tankathon.com and you look at the remaining schedule strength, it's going to show you your toughest remaining opponents. And in that case, the Suns play Oklahoma City one more time this season. They play Cleveland one more time this season. They play Memphis, who we just lost to, 2 more times this season. We play the Knicks and the Nuggets both 1 time each this season, and we still play the Celtics 2 more times this season. And then you have the easiest opponents. And every other team in the NBA has at least 6 teams on their schedule remaining that are considered quote-unquote easy opponents due to their overall winning percentage. The Suns only have 4. Only 4. And it's Toronto twice, it's the Pelicans twice, it's the Bulls twice, and the Spurs twice. And we know even like the Spurs aren't necessarily a hard out because what they did at the trade deadline, that's a team that's trending upwards, not downwards. So it's going to be a challenge for Phoenix to get back to 500 this year. And if you go to Bleacher Report, or not Bleacher Report, Basketball Reference, I'm sorry, and you look at their playoff probabilities, they predict the Suns to have a 37-44 record this season and miss the playoffs, an 80% chance of missing the playoffs. And that's just reality. And that's why games like tonight, where the Suns lose 119-111, showcase once again how razor thin the margins are relative to victory and defeat. And we go back to those Suns teams of 2017, 18, 19, when they were quote unquote learning to win, when all it was really Devin Booker learning to win because none of the players stuck around or were retained by the organization. And that's how we felt then. But then we had Devin Booker and kind of everybody else. Now we have Bradley Beal, obviously not playing in this one, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and they're still just from a razor thin margin standpoint, they're not winning these games.
They're not. And like I said, it's their full effort in these type of games. So what this reminds me tonight of the effort they put out there, the way they kind of came back and almost made it a tie game. They fought back and it was a 4-point game at one time, 3-point game at one time, wasn't it? It was pretty close to that
3
point.
points.
And 3 points. Yeah. So the fact that they got that close, it's nice. But the thing is, on the other side, it's like the Grizzlies, they kind of know how good they are in crunch time too. They kind of know where they have the Suns in a game like this, where you're going to have a run by the Suns. And once the Suns get to that point, it's like, can they finish it? It's just, they can't get over the hump. They don't have that in them to kind of match the star power and John Morant or even Jaren Jackson Jr., JJJ, because he is an all-star now. So those 2 guys are very difficult to take on. And like a lot of West teams, they always have those 2 guys are like the one guy that can overpower Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Even though Kevin Durant had a crazy game today, really tremendous game, it's just not enough right now for this team because you need another guy like Devin Booker to step up. And you can just kind of tell he's not just that other guy that can do it in games like this where a team is long and they just have a hard time trying to finish in the paint or do anything in there because this team in the Grizzlies, they're absolutely too large down there. They're just too athletic too. So
they're way too large down there.
You notice how, things are going to be difficult down the stretch for the Suns. You just hope that things will click, but it's just hard to think that in a positive way because it's just, we've seen this team all season long. Like there's nothing to show us other than Kevin Durant playing like 44 minutes this game.
Bingo.
That might have a chance to win these type of games.
Yeah, that's, again, what you see night in and night out. And tonight, as you mentioned, a great example of this is the roster construction that Matt Ishbia, Josh Bartlestein, and James Jones put together isn't sustainable. If you want to even stand a chance against a team like Memphis, who plays connected, plays athletic, again, plays with the highest and quickest pace in the league, like they're looking to get out and run. And get out and run, they did in this game. They, from a fast break standpoint, 19 points in fast break points to the Suns 11. They love to do that. And the only way you can stand a chance is you have to run Kevin Durant and Devin Booker into the fucking ground. And that's not good for them. It's not good for the team. 42, almost 43 minutes by Kevin Durant this game, almost 40 minutes for Devin Booker. You look at the Grizzlies in this case, and I'm going to talk about some other teams as well. Ja Morant, 33 total minutes, right? Jaren Jackson, 34. Desmond Bane, 35. And then you go and you look at some of the best teams in the league and how are they succeeding? Not only are they succeeding in the way and the style that they play, but you look at like OKC, for example, right? 34 minutes from SGA, and he's the top minute guy on the team. Jalen Williams is at 32 minutes. Lou Dort, 28. Kason Wills, 27. Chet Holmgren, well, he's been out. You look at Cleveland, who's leading the Eastern Conference. It's the same exact story. Donovan Mitchell's the top minute getter on their team. He's at 31 minutes a game. Darius Garland's 30. Evan Mobley's 30. Jared Allen. And why is that? It's because these teams aren't constructed with 3 maximum contracted players. Yeah. And I don't care if Bradley Beal's healthy or not, KD still has to play that many minutes. I mean, this guy's 37 years old, loves to ball, loves being out there, but you're putting him in a bad situation. And that's been kind of the drum that I've really been beating since the trade deadline and beforehand, is the way that they've constructed this roster around Durant and around Booker, because those are your 2 key guys, is failing them, because those guys should be playing 34 minutes, and that $50 million that Bradley Beal is taking up could be redistributed with quality players around them to support them and to take minutes off of their load. And you're running these guys in the ground, and you're not even winning games, dude. Like, it's just running in quicksand. Just keep these guys healthy so we can take another run at it next year and hope that somehow, some way, by some miracle, Bradley Beal does want to get traded this offseason so we can take that $50 million and reallocate it to resources that are going to help KD and Booker rather than hinder them.
Yeah, no, I agree with some of that. And I do agree that, these teams like the Memphis Grizzlies, where even the Cavs, they're kind of constructed around a team play. They're constructed in a way where they've been together, they've been through the ups and downs, they held together. Because you have to think about the Cavs, dude. Like last year, like with Jared Allen, that was a team that didn't want him, that there was like a lot of issues with Donovan Mitchell. Everyone thought maybe this year would kind of be a blow it up season, but they held it together. They kept waiting, and then it just blew up. And here, in a good way, like they're here to play. Same thing with the Grizzlies, that they had to hold it down till Ja Morant was done with all his bullshit. Now he's back, and this team looks dominant. So it's like, the Suns, obviously, they blew it up. They took a chance at getting Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal before the season. We love this roster and everything, and I'll always stay on this side where I just think Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, they are the stars. And I feel like no matter what you do to build this team around them, if they have length, I guess, and they have a center that could rebound, yes, that'd be awesome. But I just don't think these 2 guys right now, currently in the West, I just don't think they can compete with the best teams. Those 2 guys are just not those players. So I understand building around them and stuff, but I don't think KD and Book can get it done.
See, I think they can. And again, this is the argument we kind of go back and forth on. I think they can. They just don't have the right resources around them. Because you look at like Cleveland. Cleveland is way under the first apron, way under the second apron. They've got Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are making max contract money. And the next highest paid guy is DeAndre Hunter at 21.6, who they just brought in. Before that, Jared Allen's at 20, Evan Mobley's at 11. We're relying on minimum contract players to be effective and to consistently contribute. And it hasn't been the case this year. And you go up and down the lineup and you look at situations that are occurring in-game situations, and you're like, what's the why? And I want to start with KD because of the monumental achievement that he accomplished, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go with
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la. Uh-huh. Mr. Jones and me.
The reason I want to go with Tyus Jones is it's something that we kind of consistently been talking about as of late is, should he go to the bench? In fact, I had an article of brightsideofthesun.com kind of saying like, yeah, the time has come to put him on the bench. It's just in big game moments, he's proven that he's been a poor defensive player. And Seth Logan was actually in our playback.tv channel watching the game with us today, and we'll be doing that again tomorrow. And he made a very good comment. He said, I think some of KD's turnovers come from his read of the defense and way overestimating his teammates' abilities. Because you look at the back end of this game, and Tyus Jones comes off a screen, and KD sees him cutting towards the basket, so he throws it towards the basket. But Jones isn't ready for the ball. He's looking around to try to find what corner to go hide in. And that's what we've kind of noticed with Tyus Jones as of late. Now, 4 of 11 from the field in this one, 11 points, a team worst -15, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc, 9 assists in this game, but he also had 2 turnovers. And one thing that I noted in my piece of Bright Side of the Sun is his 1.3 turnovers this season, highest in his career. He's having the worst assist to turnover ratio, although it's still good. It's at like 4.58 to 1. It's still the worst since like 2017/18. He hasn't fit in here because the Suns haven't utilized him in a role that he's necessarily been accustomed to. He goes and stands in the corner. The Suns brought Tyus Jones here in as a point guard, and they forced him to be a 2 guard. So some of it's his fault in the way that he's adjusted, and some of it is the way that the team schematically has utilized him. And again, it's another situation where resources around Book and Kevin Durant haven't been operating the way that they normally should and have operated in the past. We saw the same shit last year. Like, you don't want Nabi. Guy's great. Comes here, can't hit shit.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating. And I think the frustrating part is the biggest thing was when Tyus got here, we were excited. When he was playing, we loved the guy. I thought he was part of the big 3. I thought he could sneak his way in there and be even a better player than Bradley Beal because he was showing a lot of potential early in the season. Then they weren't giving him the ball to kind of set up the offense to play point guard. And they were like, where's that at? How come we're not doing that? And it's too much Book, too much. Actually, it was mostly like, oh, it's too much Kevin Durant playing ISO. There was always that conversation. Tyus needs to set up the offense. Quickly, like within the last week and a half, we just kind of maybe seen like, I don't know if Tyus is just kind of like still frustrated with the offense and just not being played right, but you would never know because the guy doesn't show any emotion. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really I guess a few times here or there, like you can see a few things, but he doesn't have any kind of glimmer. He doesn't have any kind of like angst about him, like angst about him. Like he's just a guy that kind of goes out there and does whatever the offensive wants. He doesn't want to do anything to kind of disrupt what the big 3 are doing, but also like he's just a better player than that. I feel like we unlocked something earlier in the season. I don't know how you get it back. I think that the Suns right now are looking for answers everywhere else on the bench too. But Tyus is there and he's still playing a lot of minutes. He's still finishing the games. He's still starting. So it is, like you said, like the article you released, it's like, when are they going to maybe think about maybe bringing Brad back into the starting lineup, maybe putting him on the bench because he is obviously a guy that is maybe just a backup point guard. So there's a lot to be asked with this team right now of these guys that are coming in to do more than what they're expected to do. And, just like that pass he said to Tyus Jones, like KD might have read something else. Tyus should have had the pass right there because he should have cut. But it's just like everything's just so fucked right now with like in and out of the rotations. We still don't know who we are. We still don't have a rotation that makes sense. We're healthy. We don't have use of Nurkic, obviously, but Bradley Beal's hurt. But like we should kind of know what we're doing in these games. But still, we're relying on these players to hit big time shots like Bol Bol to come in and just help this team out that has Kevin Durant and Booker. And they're doing the best they can, but it's just obviously not enough playing against teams that know who they are. Like, and that's pretty much all 100%. The West 9 through 1.
Yeah, 100%. There is definitely an identity crisis that's been present in Phoenix for about a year and a half now. And you're correct with the rotations because we saw some very weird things, and we'll ask ourselves some of those internal questions why some of these rotations happened the way that they did. But Tyus Jones has been a constant this year in the starting lineup, a constant relative to his rotation and his minutes. And it just ultimately it hasn't worked. And I'm wondering when the organization, not just Coach Bud, the organization steps in and goes, listen, Tyus isn't going to be here next year. Now, obviously Bradley can't come in and play because he's hurt, but Booker and Beal, we needed to see that a little bit more. And I know that might make some people cringe inside a little bit, and they're just like, hey man, positionless basketball, it doesn't really work, man. And that shit just didn't fucking work, man. But like maybe the answer has been in front of us all along. Like the whole positionless basketball experiment flopped, or did it? Because like Booker and Beal, when they were on the court together in the fourth quarter last season. Now, remember, the Suns last year in the fourth quarter woes of the Sun. The team was a negative 195, 100 points worse than any team in the league. When Booker and Beal were on the floor together in the fourth quarter last season, they were plus 23. They've had plus minutes together ever since they've played together. but we've decided to lean into Tyus Jones, bring him in here to get a point guard, and it hasn't worked the way that we thought, primarily because he's a poor defensive point guard. And I think that there is an opportunity for the Suns to go, you know what? Tyson isn't going to be here next year. Beal's going to be here because we can't trade him. Booker's going to be here. When Beal comes back, we need to lean back into having these two guys in the starting lineup, see what they have. Yes, positionless basketball might be a challenge, and if we at any point find ourselves having troubles with facilitation, bring in Jones, bring in Monte Morris, but I think that is definitely something that the Suns need to explore. And if the reason they're not doing it is because Tyus Jones was promised a starting point guard spot when he came to Phoenix last summer, that's like tough shit, dude. You're on a veteran minimum contract, and at some point you got to look towards the future and prioritize who's going to be here long term. Odds are Tyus won't be. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, they will be.
Yeah, how quickly things do turn, and I think that the right thing to do right now is kind of ride it out till Beal gets back and to put Beal maybe in the starting lineup again, because it didn't work, obviously. The one hard part is just Beal's in and out of the lineup, obviously. He's been a little bit more consistent as of late. He's only missed, I think, like in the last 20, 25 games, like 4 games total. So it's not – he hasn't been out of lineup too much. But the Suns moving forward, you want to kind of have like these conversations with these players where it's like the hard truth. Like, all right, I know what we promised you. You got to go to the bench, though. But it's just like we did that with Nurk and Beal already. And it's just like it's so tough to have that happen to a third guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I
but
feel like
tough
we've done
shit.
things. I know, but it is tough shit. But
yeah, we're losing basketball
never
games.
Happens. I know, but this never happens ever. Like,
Yeah,
I just don't remember this.
It
ever
happens to
happening this
bad
much.
teams, and we have proven
that's what stinks
to be
that's
bad
where,
team
that's where
this
we're
year.
at. That's
Exactly.
where I'm getting. I'm like, you just know it's like all falling apart, and it's just. I think that's a weird feeling I've had tonight with this game. It's just like I've always had a little bit of hope, but now I just feel like I think I am just kind of done.
See,
and just enjoying as much as I can. I don't know.
You're experiencing what I felt last week, like because after the trade deadline, and then we, obviously we got pwned by the Oklahoma City Thunder, and like that was just deflating. Like that happened in the trade deadline, and the only move we can make was Nurk. I mean, it was just something that was so unbelievable.
Jazz game was lucky. Jazz game was very lucky.
Yeah,
so.
We have to pull that one out of our ass, and so that's where
It's
I'm
miserable.
at as a fan. From a fan's perspective, I'm looking at this and go, you know what? Let's just ride out the rest of the season, try to find the moments to enjoy, knowing that a playoff push is highly improbable and a championship is completely out of the question. So let's enjoy the little moments, and we had an opportunity to enjoy a little moment tonight.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant.
You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
That's absolutely true. One of the best players to ever play the game, Kevin Durant, who needed 26 points to hit the 30,000 mark. Only 8 players had ever hit 30,000 points in a career. Kevin Durant is now amongst them. He's number 9, and this is an elite list. This is LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dirk Nowitzki, Wilt Chamberlain, and Julius Erving. And now Kevin Durant has surpassed 30,000 points, and he did that tonight in epic fashion, in I'm taking the fuck over fashion. 34 points on 12 of 18 from the field. So 18 field goals to hit 34 points. Unbelievable. 3 total rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 5 blocked fucking shots. And hey, KD, thanks for going over 30. I put a little money on it, and I appreciate it. And here's actually the moment when he hit the 30,000th point and how we were watching it on playback TV. Let me show you that.
There we go. He gets it, according to my watch. He got it. Way to go, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
30,000 points.
Let's
You
go,
did it.
KD. Wow. Matthew Lissy loves you.
Matthew Lissy loves you, Kevin Durant. 30,000. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. 30K. 30K.
30K.
Now we can start winning games. Now the monkey's
Now we
always
can throw one in.
Now the monkey's off his back. Now we can start winning games.
beautiful moment, huh?
Beautiful moment.
Great.
Shared right there on our playback.tv channel. If you guys don't subscribe to the Bright Side of the Sun playback.tv channel, I recommend you do. Come hang out with Matthew and myself. And that was Suns Worldwide, who has a YouTube channel and has a great Instagram channel as well. So give him a follow. So thoughts on KD hitting 30,000?
I think it's awesome. I'm really happy for him. I really am. I'm excited for him. I think it's weird to have these happen, like even with the Devin Booker passing Walter Davis, like just the type of season is kind of a downer, but these little moments here or there, they're nice to have throughout the season. So congrats, KD. I'm really excited for him.
It's in typical Suns fashion, how whenever really one of these great moments happen, it's in a Suns loss. Obviously Devin Booker getting past Walter Davis for the all-time scoring mark happened in a loss against Portland. Sean Marion goes into the Ring of Honor. Amari Stoudemire goes to the Ring of Honor. Loss. Like, it's just, Al McCoy's last game, loss. It just, that's just kind of the way it goes as Suns fans. But, Kevin Durant in this game was absolutely fantastic. Hard shots. I mean, Memphis plays physical. They're a physical team, and they were beating him up and around. He went to the line and shot 10 total free throws. He probably could have had like 16 in this game because the way that they were pushing him around, trying to push him off his spots, trying to disrupt him. There's only so many fouls that the officials are going to call, good, bad, or indifferent. It's not the right answer, but KD rises above and was absolutely fantastic in this game.
Yeah, very excited for him. I think moving forward, the way that they played this game this strong and just coming out in the second half and really kind of trying to kick it to KD and just have him try to take over. Let's see how they continue these games and if that's the thing they really focus on. I'm a little worried that the focus was, hey, too much KD and this team giving it all. Is that all they have for the rest of the season? But hopefully they can build off of this. That'd be really nice because they're obviously going to have a lot of competition coming up, but they can squeak things out because a lot of fans like in the chat right now are saying like, hey, maybe they can turn things around. Maybe they can get going here with the rest of the season ahead. And I don't know what I'm even saying. Who cares?
Well, I'll ask you this. This is your chance. All right. Kevin Durant asks, all right, what's up with Matt? Why he want me gone, bruh? This is your chance to respond to KD right here. Why do you want him gone, man?
Why do I want KD? Well, it's too late now. Right?
What do you mean?
I mean, I wanted Valanciunas, Kuminga, Picks, and Butler for KD. That's why I wanted the trade to happen. That's it.
There you go. So
that's the reason. KD's amazing, but like I said early on in this whole season, almost that KD and Book are not the two guys to carry this team to a championship and win. I just don't. I haven't believed it for a while, and nothing's changed. So
get rid of
I'm sorry
Beal.
to be Henri,
like
an Henri onion over here. Yeah.
Henri oven. Onion. Henri oven. I gotta lay off the herb, man. All right, question for you. When was it over? All right, Matthew. So this game, when do you feel this game was over? Because it felt like it was over early, and then it wasn't. Then it felt like it was over kind of in the third, then it wasn't. When was this one over?
I think with the 7th offensive rebound, maybe that was grabbed by the Memphis Grizzlies, or the 5th in the 4th quarter. Maybe that's what I thought, just because I just know these type of games have happened all season long where the Suns can make a comeback, but they can't get that extra rebound or the 2 rebounds that kind of get them back into it. So the comeback happened, and then when Ja kind of gets to the free throw line, all that shit happens. He's just getting every call. Then I know it's over. I think when Ja got that one that were kind of grazed against his belly, you know what I mean? It went and missed one free throw. I'm like, okay, it's over now.
Yep. That was it right there. It was the Ja that's, exactly my answer. It was when Ja Morant went up. Well, it was actually a little bit earlier when Suns hit a big 3. Ja Morant gets the ball. Tyus Jones just backpedals the whole time and just lets Ja get a layup. And like think about that as a teammate. You're sitting there, you're fighting, you're clawing back, and you're like, dude, we just got to stop these guys, get a good defensive possession. And you just look over and you're like, here comes Ja Morant. Hey, you got him. You got him? You had him. Oh, fuck. And he hits the layup, and it's like, okay, that 3-point just went to 5-point, and it just kind of rolled upon that. But you know what? And so Jay says, it was over when it started. Just because it got close doesn't mean it was inevitable. And that's
how I feel.
Kind of with him there. I mean, it's
I have that feeling now.
119 to 111. I'm going to check something real quick in our game preview by Brandon Dunes for Bright Side of the Sun. It's pretty close. What did he predict? He predict Grizzlies 119, Suns 111. Holy shit, he nailed it. He nailed the final score.
Did he nail it? He was close a few times this season, so
yeah, he's always pretty good for that.
For him, man.
Well, I'll tell you something that was kind of again, we're just trying to find the silver linings these days. It feels like, and here was a huge silver lining.
Look up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's
Bol Bol, motherfucker.
Bol Bol gets his first start since April 6, 2023, when he played with the Orlando Magic. He goes out and plays 30 minutes in this game. He's 7 of 16. He shoots the second most shots tonight. 3 of 10 from beyond the arc. 18 points, 14 boards, 4 block shots. Bol Bol fever. Is it going on? Is this sustainable? Or is this simply something that Coach Budenholzer did due to the size and length that exists with the Memphis Grizzlies? Are we going to see this again?
I hope so. And it's funny how these starting lineups and everything's at the hands of Twitter, because I feel like I saw it twice on Twitter where people had Bol Bol in the starting lineup. Let's do it. And then it happened. I couldn't believe it. I got on playback maybe a couple minutes late. And I was like, did Bol Bol really start? So it's insane to actually happen because Twitter was calling for it. And plus, what the Suns always do, they always try to play to the other teams like their strengths. So the size, the length that Bol Bol has is nice. The rebounding, the block shots, you need that in a game like this. You just need kind of a different kind of feel there. And him playing right next to what the fuck's his name? Nick Richards. It's nice. But what about next game? Do you think Bol Bol maybe just plays center next to KD? Because I kind of like the KD and Bol Bol lineup towards the end. I thought that was pretty nice. Lengthy, some rebounds. There were some long rebounds given up, but I don't think it looked too bad.
I think it looked great. Like Bol Bol is somebody who I consistently am just like, I don't see it. And every time I start to see it, or I say that, and he gets extended minutes, he looks good. And he's looked good enough on this team. And guess what? He has a couple plays. Like there's the one where he grabbed the rebound and he brought it down, and then John Morant steals it from him, like lays it up, right? Like he makes a couple boneheaded plays, but so does fucking Tyus Jones all game long, and he's out there playing all the time. The decision was clearly made due to the length of the Grizzlies, but I say roll it out there again. KD at the 3 is the thing I've always wanted for this team. I've always wanted Booker at the 2, KD at the 3, because any small forward, obviously on defense, their defenses are going to switch appropriately and try to put a quality matchup on Kevin Durant. But for defensively, Kevin Durant can do multiple things out of the 3, and I feel like he's more effective as a defensive player out of the small forward position than the power forward position. Power forward position typically takes a little bit more size and girth, and KD, as tall as he is, he isn't the most girthy guy. And you're asking Bol Bol to play that same position in this scenario, and he's not the biggest girthy guy. But because he's out there and because Kevin Durant's out there guarding the 3, Durant can cheat off, and he can come down, and he can try to be a defense. He was amazing on defense in this game. He hit the 30,000th free throw and then made 2 great defensive plays. And it's because of the position in which he's playing. And the Suns have always the challenge with this iteration, again, with Booker and Beal and Durant, is 2 guys are playing out of position at all times. Shit, 3 might be. But if you have Kevin Durant playing the 4 and Devin Booker playing the 3, that's not where they should be. Book at the 2, KD at the 3, get a good power forward, get a quality point guard, get a quality center. You're good as gold. So I like having Nick Richards out there because he has some athleticism. I mean, we can talk about him a little bit, kind of what's happened with him and why he's not necessarily the guy who's grabbing 20 rebounds again, and there's reasons for that. But you have him as your starting 5 in this iteration of the Suns. You got Bol out there at the 4. Fuck it. What do we got to lose? Dice against the fucking against the wall, man. Let's come up 7s.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now. We're kind of just looking for anything. It's kind of just going to be matchup based, I'm sure. But I would love to see just Bol Bol and KD out there. Bol, he has at times the intangibles to come out there and just kind of mix it up offensively, where he kind of makes sense at times, just in certain spots on the floor. He has so much length, obviously, so he can get in the paint and just hit those little jump shots over anybody, obviously. And with Book really trusting him with 2 shots late in the game, and he nailed both of them, one was a mid-range, one was a 3. He has the trust from Book, obviously, because there's nothing else. There's no one else, right? And a game like this where Memphis is long, to get any shot over, you have to rely on a guy like Bol, because obviously Book can't do it. KD was doing it. He does struggle too to have those difficult shots, but a guy like Bol's like, all right, this guy's not going to have a problem against the Grizzlies because everything's just going to be kind of easy for him. And he was hot tonight. Not saying it's going to be consistent through the rest of the year, but we're going to see it up and down, I'm sure, all year long. It's like seriously the one positive to come out of tonight's game. And it's great to see Bol Bol hit big.
Yeah. And that's like 3 consecutive games where he's played quality. And I even said it on Bright Side of the Sun. And, you guys know me, if like I have no problem saying I was wrong and I'll change my mind. And I wrote a piece that came out, I think yesterday, about Bol Bol, just saying, you know what, let's just roll with it because it's something different. It seems to be working. The energy that happens, because even if he's making a couple boneheaded plays, he'll make an amazing block and it's a great defensive possession and it leads to easy offense, or he'll hit a 3 and at home it gets the crowd going. And that's what you need. I mean, that's what happened when KD hit that 30,000th point. There was an energy all of a sudden that it was in the building and it ignited the Suns, and it wasn't piped in through the speakers like it typically is at the Footprint Center. It was actual energy by the fan base that is translated down to the team. And too often the Suns fan base, and this is just, if you're a Phoenix Suns player and you happen to be watching this, know one thing about Phoenix. This is a fan base that is constantly on the edge of its seat, waiting for the other foot to fall. So it's hard to get truly excited at a game, because the moment we start to get truly excited, a 10-0 run slaps us in the face. And that's literally like the history of the franchise. Matthews, KD blowing up your phone. What's going on over there? Ding, ding,
sorry,
ding.
my phone's on the bed over there, so I can't turn it off.
Oh, well,
sorry.
Tell whoever it is to stop texting
It's
you.
probably KD. He wants me to know, great pod tonight.
I will say that a week ago, I was blocked by 2 starting members of the Phoenix Suns. Well, 2 members of the Phoenix Suns, because Nurkic wasn't starting anymore. KD unblocked me, and Nurkic got traded. So I'm back to having 0 starters block me on Twitter. So
You're
I got
back
that
in the loop, dude. I don't know if that says more about you or KD just can't make up his mind about you. It's John, I can't stay away either. So
I don't blame you guys. Now, obviously, Bol Bol, that decision. One of the question marks in this game was what the fuck happened to Bol Bol, because he came out, he played that first 9 minutes in the first quarter, looked fantastic. In that first 9 minutes, he had 7 points, hit a 3, had a block shot. Everything was humming, and then we barely saw him again. We saw him for 5 more minutes, but it was like a late substitution. And we're like, come on, Budenholzer, what the fuck are you doing? Which brings us to Budenholzer.
Play fast, play random, play together, play in great space. Let's go play some basketball, have some fun.
Budenholzer, Budenholzer.
So here's a question for you. If things continue the way that they're going, does Bud get fired this offseason?
He can't. In my eyes, I don't feel like he can. But then again, what's our roster going to look like next year, right? You got to kind of just look at it that way. In my eyes, I'm just like, if this team changes drastically, then yeah, maybe you switch it up to kind of just, go along with what we have moving forward in the future. Right now, I just, I didn't want to do this. I'm not doing this with the coach. You can have this conversation, but I'm not blaming the coach. I'm not saying he should be fired. We did talk about it on playback, but I honestly think that it would be James Jones to go next. And I don't know if it's his dealings with what he's been doing with the roster, which I don't think it is, but he will probably be the scapegoat. And here we go. We're going to have the scapegoats now, like LeBron James's teams.
Yeah. I honestly don't know, because this is clearly a roster that's underperforming. And typically when that happens, the head coach is the first one to go. And this is a roster that's severely underperforming. As I mentioned, per Basketball Reference, the Suns are projected to have 37 wins, right? That's 11 more wins this season. That's it. But it's also a bad look for that new owner, right? You come in, you fire the head coach, you bring in Frank Vogel, you fire him the next season, you bring in Budenholzer, you fire him the next season. That would mean 4 head coaches in 3.5 seasons for Matt Ishbia if he chooses to do so. So I don't know if it's going to happen. I honestly don't. I could see reasons why people are frustrated with how he's performed. His love affair with Mason Plumlee, which I think finally fizzled out a little bit today. because Plumlee was out there in that first half, and that's probably part of the reason why Bol Bol didn't get as much play as we thought he should. But he played 7 minutes in that first half, and it was kind of ugly. And I don't even know if we saw him again. Did we see him again? Mason?
I don't believe so.
In the second half? Yeah, he did not play in the second half. I mean, it was that bad. But I mean, clearly Bud's trying anything he can. Ty Washington is out there getting minutes over Monte Morris, mind you, chucking up threes in the fourth fucking quarter. I mean, how many missed threes did Ty Washington?
He was 0 for 6.
He was 0 for 6. 0 for 6. And in the fourth quarter, he was 0 for 3. Huge possessions, down 5. Ty miss. We get the rebound, kick it back out to Ty miss.
It's rough, and
that's a lever Bud pulls, right? He could have put in Monte Morris.
He could have, and it's just weird in a game like this where these are must wins. Your last win, 6-game losing streak if you don't beat the Utah Jazz, or 7-game losing streak. Big game and big moments happen, and then all of a sudden you turn the camera, and the camera turns to who has the ball, and it's Ty. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is he in this game in these situations?
Like Kevin Durant's there, Devin Booker's there, Ty shooting.
I'm like, did I miss something? Like, don't we have Monte Morris? But for me, a lot of these players are definitely underperforming, but they're also doing too much what they're asked for. And Monte Morris is the one guy I feel like who is the backup point guard, who should be in situations maybe like this. It's hard to kind of just wrap your head around a lot of these decisions, but what's the best part of this is like whatever happens, it doesn't matter, because whatever the Mavericks did just is just 10 times worse. So we can be okay for a little bit, right? Like we have that happen, and now the Suns can get away with a few things. Like having Ty in the fourth quarter with Kevin Durant, who scored 30,000 points.
Well, another questionable call, and something's got to be behind this. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 paging Ryan Dunn. Has anybody seen Ryan Dunn? 5 total minutes played in this game. Now, I don't know if he got injured. I haven't seen any reports about him getting injured, but 5 total minutes. I mean, you can't tell me that Ryan Dunn wouldn't be productive in this game. He's a young, athletic guy who can get out and run. He's long. He plays passing lanes. He does what the Grizzlies do. Ryan Dunn would flourish on the Grizzlies if he played in that kind of system, and yet the Suns aren't playing him. They're playing Ty Washington. He's got to be injured, right, Matthew?
No, you know what? He probably is with the ankle, but I got to tell you, like, he's kind of fallen off for me. Last 3 weeks, I just haven't been that interested. I haven't been calling for him. Like, where's that guy at? Like, I just feel like he's been kind of getting owned, and I guess there's probably stats out there you can show me right now. I was like, no, he's actually looked pretty good against Kyrie the other night or something like that. But I just feel like this guy is kind of playing himself out of the rotation. He played so well to start, right? So it's a great first season for him. He's still obviously going to build upon this season and just go into next season and kind of build off of this, and that's fine. I just think he kind of maybe hit his limit, he kind of hit his ceiling right now for the first season. That's how I'm feeling about him. I'm not looking for him to kind of answer anything or try to come in and win games for us. Like, I kind of think that's past, and Bud knows that. I'm actually going to say, like, I kind of just trust what Bud's doing. Obviously, months from now, I'm going to look back on this podcast, but what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Because Bud's going to be fired. So obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about right now with Ryan Dunn.
Well, it's interesting. In his first 39 games played, which were the first 43 games of the Phoenix Suns season, he was playing 20 minutes a game, 20.5 minutes. He's 7.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, 0.5 steals, 0.7 blocks, 45% from the field, 31% from beyond the arc, right? But then he twisted his ankle, okay, in that game against Washington. He only played 1 minute in that game, twisted his ankle. Since then, he's played in 7 games, only starting 4 of them. Minutes have gone down by 7 minutes a game, 13.4, 3.9 points, 37% from the field, 28% from beyond the arc. So I think kind of what's happened is that ankle injury is probably a little bit more severe than the Suns are letting on. And Coach Budenholzer, kind of like Vogel did last year, right? Vogel used injuries as an opportunity to give other guys a chance and then continued rolling with those guys. Example, Nasir Little. Nasir Little had a good front end of last season. His November, December was solid. He got injured, and then we almost never saw him again.
Yep.
Bol Bol, same thing. Bol Bol had a good run, twisted his ankle, making that jumper across the lane. We almost never saw him again. It's almost like Bud's doing the same thing with the rookies. Like, hey, man, we're 500 and now under 500. Take some time, rest. We need you if and when, the playoffs come around. But those minutes have drastically fallen off post ankle injury. And that's one thing for everyone who wants to burn down the houses on Twitter, because I see a lot of houses on fire and none of them are in LA. They're all over Twitter and it's all about why is it Ryan Dunn getting more minutes? My guess is he's probably a little bit more injured than he's actually being, or at least we're being informed of.
I think so too. I'm never really sitting there like, God damn, I wish Ryan Dunn was in the game right now. Like, it doesn't.
You are the opposite of every Suns fan.
I think I am. Yeah, I'm kind of disinterested. I don't care to have him in the lineup as much, but maybe that is because of the injury. So I don't know.
Because it kind of coincides. It coincides with you're like, well, the last 3 weeks I really haven't given a shit about Ryan Dunn. It's like, well, the last 2 weeks he's been injured, and that probably has something to do with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk about before we get to the subreddit stakeout.
Nicky, the great Nick Richards. Richard means Dick. That's why he's Nicky, the great Nick Richards.
So Nick Richards in this game, 16 minutes, 2 of 4 from the field. 4 total rebounds, 1 assist, 6 total points. Where's Nick Richards gone?
I don't know, dude. That's why the whole Plumlee thing, I'm like, I don't know who else you play, because right now I don't have confidence in Nick Richards either. So I don't know. He's just kind of gone. And we were talking about him playback. He had the first 4 games that were really great. 3 out of the first 4. And then he kind of just fell off, and he hasn't been able to rebound, has been able to use his size or athleticism that we thought he had. He looks kind of lost out there. So I think we had a good, stint there. Now it's just kind of falling back into like, who else can help us? And I think that's why you throw Bol Bol out there, like, for more size, because we all know we're all kind of frustrated with Plumlee and his play. So there's nothing really to rely on right now, because Richards, you can't trust him. He is a backup.
I wouldn't say that Bol Bol's more size. I would say he's more length.
Bol Bol, but when he bends over though, he's a little bit more girth.
I like Richards. He's definitely he's a backup. He's a backup. He'd be great to come in and play against the backups, I feel. And I mean, he was the backup in Charlotte. And he's kind of stuck to the theory that I've had this season. It's like when we play really good teams, he struggles, and he did tonight. When we play bad teams, he's really good, like Utah, right? 12 points, 14 boards. Golden State was his last really good game. Before that, he was 14 and 16. Although Portland, he didn't play well at all. OKC, not well. Denver, not well. Tonight, not well. And so why we brought him in, and he's somebody who does provide athleticism and rebounding and the ability to roll effectively. I don't know if he's not being utilized effectively. I don't know if the schemes aren't highlighting him from time to time to make him be more effective, and then continue to, if it is effective, go back to that well over and over again until the defense makes it stop. Or if it's, again, like Jay says in the chat, Bud killed him, because you never know. It's probably Bud.
Yeah, that might be it. Or else how do we miss out on the whole Alex Len thing? Like, how do we not bring that dude back?
He's a Laker now.
Here, huh?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we could have stolen from the Lakers. We could have you got Luka? Look who we got.
we got Alex
Len from 10 years ago.
Jeez, let's go subreddit.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Where is she? She's in the back smoking a pack of cigarettes.
That's right, Jamsters. Once again, I was hanging out in Memphis. Good barbecue. And I couldn't go on the subreddit for the opposing team dressed as myself. I can't go there wearing Suns gear. That's insane. They'd kick my ass. They'd make me eat some barbecue. I'm trying to find the thing. There we go. See, like when I do subreddit stakeout, you should pull this up. You know what I'm saying? And then change this. It's the subreddit stakeout thing.
Shit.
Motherfucker. So here's what was being said on the Memphis Grizzlies subreddit stakeout, or subreddit, during this game.
Katie, bro, go ahead and throw on a Grizzlies jersey.
This is a question that we were asking as well.
Mason Plumlee, what are you doing? Just wish we had Cam Spencer healthy so he could get in Booker's head again. Devin Booker sleeps with a nightlight because he's still hearing Cam Spencer laughing at him.
That's pretty good.
Suns defense is ass. Their defense is so bad, man. Fuck, we getting cooked by Bol Bol.
This is one that I kind of agree with. And
Kennard is kind of lame.
Looking or just lame?
Just lame. He's just lame.
Oh.
I agree with that.
Could this TNT commentary be any more biased?
And then like a Chandler Bing gif.
Sloppy play against this mediocre Suns team, mixed with some of the most blatantly biased commentary I've ever heard. It's sending me into a frenzy.
Wow.
Where is she? Why was OKC Grizzlies game not shown on TNT instead of this junk? The Suns suck. Booker always doing dangerous shit. Such a bitch.
And then the last one of the night, ladies and jamsters.
Get fucked, Devin Booker.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
Myself right in the face with my mic.
Oh, did you?
Dark in here. I couldn't
Wardrobe
see.
changes tell you what.
Oh man. Anything else in your notes that you'd like to discuss before we get out?
I didn't have any notes actually.
Oh my god.
Jam star of the game.
All right, Jamsters, a reminder, subscribe, rate, and review. Give us a thumbs up. If you happen to be listening on Apple Podcasts, rate us 5 stars, write a review. We'll read it here on the pod. And if you're on Spotify, just go ahead and give us a 5-star review. All right, Matthew,
Yes.
Jamstar, who you got?
It's got to be Ty.
Ty. He doesn't even get a fucking drop. Ty Washington does not even have a drop. I can find the old Dwayne Washington one if we do.
Yeah.
Dwayne Washington Jr.
No, I'm giving it to Katie, of course.
Yeah, this is definitely a Katie Jamstar game. 30,000 points, an amazing feat, and led the team in scoring and won me a little money. So, thanks.
Yeah,
thanks, Katie. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Katie. I do love you.
All right. Up next, tomorrow night, we're right back at it. Houston Rockets. We travel to Houston, so the Suns play the second night of a back-to-back, and they're playing against the Houston Rockets. This is going to be the first time this season that we've actually seen the Houston Rockets. They're coming into this game, a team that's 33-20. They're the 5th seed in the Western Conference. Don't know if Fred VanVleet will be playing, but they're a team that, I mean, they beat you with defense. You know, they're the 4th best defensive rating in the league, and they beat you with hustle. I mean, this is kind of, I almost feel like somewhat of a mirror image outside of the size that the Grizzlies have. What are you looking for in this game, Matthews? I know you're covering the game for Brightside.
Yeah, so Amen Thompson is Amen Thompson. Amen. Obviously, he's a guy you definitely want to watch tomorrow, and not really root for, but you're going to enjoy what you see from the dude. Very athletic, can't really shoot, but he can score. He's very efficient around the rim. A young team, obviously missing Fred VanVleet, like you said, so he's kind of the guy that can kind of end games. That's why I feel like Houston's kind of sliding of late. They were on like a 3-game losing streak. And now, they won last night. Now the Suns have a chance to kind of maybe catch them when they're down a little bit. But right now, I mean, Houston, they were a surprise this year, and they're kind of slipping in the standings too. So can they kind of get back on track before the All-Star break, win the one last game? That's going to be big for the Houston Rockets. It might just seem like one regular season game, but it's a good ending to a good first half for them if they can kind of sneak this one out against the Suns.
Yeah, I agree. And you nailed it. A young athletic team. Amen Thompson's playing absolutely inspired basketball, but they are starting to slip a little bit. It's catching up with them. So we'll see. And this is a team you have to remember that is rooting for the Suns to lose. They're coming into this motivated. If the GM goes into the locker room before the game, be like, dude, you got to beat these motherfuckers. We have their pick next year. Please beat these guys. And one thing to remember as we watch this game, man, there's a possibility.
Jesus, this is a nice limo.
Yes, it is. Now suck my
Jock Landale.
Jock Landale is on their team, so we might.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite one too. And I'm sorry, it was a 6-game losing streak, not a 3-game. So.
Oh damn! Yeah, that was probably my favorite drop of all time.
Yeah, it was the best one. Yeah, it was really good.
All right. Well, we appreciate everyone hanging out with us. If you happen to be watching us on the playback.tv today, thank you for hanging out with us. We will be doing it again tomorrow, and then we will be right back here tomorrow, post-game podcast, the last one prior to the All-Star break. So thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. We're gonna go to bed now.
Yeah, everyone, good night, and go home and love your teddies.
Titties?
Teddies. Like teddy bears.
Okay. Makes so much more sense. But love your titties.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.